Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's first lesson on Unit 4, Lesson 4.1, page 126, where we're going to begin our unit on inequalities. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 videos tonight, so we need to make sure we get through them. Of course, never sacrificing your ability to seek understanding by going too fast. Again, if you are just blindly listening and copying, you are wasting your time. You are not taking notes and autographing your notes with excellence. Because taking notes and autographing it with excellence is more than just writing them down neatly. It's more than just filling in the page. It's more than just gluing them to the book. You are trying to seek understanding. You are trying to learn the information that is being given. So as always, when you need to, watch and listen with your pencil down and then pause and fill in your notes as another way of learning. Of course, coming to class with questions as well. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about inequalities. For the first time this year, we're going to apply what we learned to translate inequalities from words to symbols, and then we're going to graph those inequalities on a number line. Our essential question: how can you use a number line to represent the solutions of an inequality? So you had some notes to take. You had some notes to take from the top of page 126. I'm probably going to supplement a few of those, so please make sure that after we get through this, you write down any additional information that you need. So, reviewing what you wrote down, a mathematical sentence that compares expressions and contains these symbols, the less than, the greater than, the less than equal to, the greater than equal to, these are called inequalities, okay? And then, when you have inequality that compares a variable and a number, these inequalities describe a range of values. We're going to talk more about what this range of values represents in video number 2. Ladies and gentlemen. And then, of course, here's those inequality symbols again. Less than is read as less than. The next one is the greater than symbol. The third one is the less than or equal to symbol. And the last one is the greater than or equal to symbol. So if you need to, pause the video and write this down so you know. Of course, before you pause, listen to this so you can write this if you need to. We always compare the first to the second. An example of that might be 5 compared to 7. We would say that 5 is less than 7. Or you could have -3 and -9. You would say -3 is greater than -9. Okay? If you threw some algebra in there and put in that variable where we're comparing a variable, you could say that x is greater than or equal to -3. That means I could put a -3 in there, or I could put a -2 in there, and as you can see, the range goes on for the number of values. So pause if you need to write down the meaning on how those symbols are read and what they represent. Otherwise, we are moving on. So, in revisiting what we learned about an inequality, it is a mathematical sentence that compares. We want to be able to write these inequalities as symbols from phrases. And of course, you should have put down this chart where less than, there's a couple words there. Obviously, is less than is normal, duh. Another phrase is fewer than. And as we go through this is not the complete set of phrases that represent an inequality symbol. These are just some key phrases. There are many more that we can add throughout the year. We have the greater than symbol, and an extra one there is more than. We have the less than or equal to symbol. There's 2 key ones in here. We have the is at most and is no more than. We'll talk about those as we're writing. And then we have the greater than symbol, which also has 2 that are difficult to remember. We just have to practice them. Is at least and is no less than. Those represent greater than or equal to. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't get this chart written down, you might want to. And then, of course, there is plenty of room here, so you'll be able to add to that chart as we move and find other phrases that represent these different inequality symbols. So let's go to writing these phrases into symbols that represent something. And I started off real quickly with a different one because I want to talk to you about something. The number 1 says 5 is less than a number. Well, I can then just write it in order. 5 is less than a number. And so I can go 5 is less than some number x. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is not the standard way of writing it. So once we know that 5 is less than that number, we know that that number has to be greater than 5. So we can write it with the same exact meaning by actually doing the flip, the reflection, and we can say x is greater than 5. Because notice my inequality symbol points to the number 5, and when I rewrote it using the variable first, x is greater than 5, my inequality symbol still points to the 5, so I reversed the order of which I wrote those symbols, and these both have the same meaning. This one is more standard. However, if you write it this way, you are not wrong. Okay, you are not wrong. Number 2, he made at least 2 points every game. So at least, what symbol is at least? So I'm going to use my variable because we use the standard way is to write the variable first. Is at least 2 points. Now I need to figure out what inequality symbol goes in there. Well, is 1 at least 2? No, it's not. Is 2 at least 2? Yes, it is. Is 3 at least 2? That is correct. So greater than or equal to. That's how I like to talk to myself to see what type of symbol I put in there. Number 3, 4 greater than a number is no less than 27. Obviously, I like to highlight my text. 8 less than a number is less than negative, I'm back to number 3. I went ahead of myself. 4 greater than a number is no less than 27. We have 2 inequality phrases in here. Greater than and is no less than. So which one is the symbol and which one means an operation? We learned how to use these greater than and less thans as operations when we were writing equations in our previous unit, but now we're writing inequalities. So I have to recognize where the inequality symbol comes in. And the key word is. Remember, is represented an equal sign, where now it's telling us is an inequality symbol. So 4 greater than would be plus 4. A number is no less than. So greater than or equal to 27. So x plus 4, 4 greater than a number, is no less than 27. Outstanding. Moving on to another one. 8 less than a number is less than negative 4. So again, we have 2 less thans in here. Which one is going to tell us the symbol and which one is going to tell us a mathematical operation? Well, you are right because you learned that key word. So 8 less than is represented by negative 8. Some number is less than, and then negative 4. We got that one. So x minus 8 is less than negative 4. 8 less than a number is less than negative 4. It can be tricky when you have multiple phrases that sound like you have multiple inequalities in there, and you have to recognize the difference. Number 5, a number divided by 2 is no more than 6. So some number divided by 2 is, there's my is sign, no more than, so it can't be more than that, it's got to be less, but it could be the same, and then 6. So n divided by 2 is less than or equal to 6. I could also write it this way if I wanted to. Either one works. Number 6, 45 is the minimum amount. Okay? So is the minimum. So some amount has to be greater than or equal to 45. Because remember that minimum symbol is the greater than or equal to symbol. That's what it's going to be. So that's one to add to your list of keywords and phrases. Minimum is greater than or equal to. Guess what maximum would be? So if minimum is less than or equal to, what would maximum? Where would we put that? That's correct. Less than or equal to is maximum. All right, my bad. Number 7, almost went too fast here. Number 7, to pass the test, you must score at least 60%. So your score has to be at least 60%. Can you score 50? Nope, you won't pass with that. Can you score 60? Yes, you will pass with a 60. And if I scored 80, I would still pass. So we've got greater than or equal to. Ladies and gentlemen, our first quick write of the night. We're going to write the word sentence as an inequality. So you should pause the video as soon as I'm done flapping. Pause the video so you can write down the entire word phrase, and then you can then put the symbol in there. If you don't write the word phrases, then when we go over them, you don't know what they were. So you've got to have those word phrases. Besides, getting in the habit of marking that text is also helpful. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're done, pause the video, take a quick snack break, come back and see us for video 2.